There were so many terrible moments from Donald Trump's inauguration and the hours of signing executive orders that followed that it's almost difficult to talk about them all. And that is entirely the point. Donald Trump wants to distract us by flooding the zone, as him and Steve Bannon would say. And it's not just Trump, but his co-president and Elon Musk who is doing it as well. And like I said, there was a lot to see and a lot we did not want to see yesterday, but I am sure you came across the clip of Elon making a certain hand gesture, a certain salute of a certain group that it seems like MAGA is more and more aligned with historically every single day. Now, there was a big debate on whether or not Elon was actually doing that hand signal or whether this was just some big misunderstanding. But of course, the point is for Elon to rile up the base, get people upset, and get people not talking about Donald Trump. And I want to frame all of that in a really interesting clip that Rachel Maddow had talking about what Elon did. But before we get into that, if I could quickly ask you to leave a like on this video, and if you haven't already and you enjoy our channel, to hit that subscribe button. It goes a long way, and it really means the world to me. Now, like I said, Rachel Maddow did such a great job calling out this clip of Elon and putting it in a really interesting light, and I want to get into that right here.
A little piece of tape here. I'm only going to play it once. But in case you haven't seen this yet, this today was Elon Musk, richest man in the world, biggest political donor in the history of our country. This is him today twice throwing something that looks like what is politely called the Roman salute at the hockey arena in Washington before Trump's appearance there tonight. And maybe this is not what he meant when he did it. Who among us knows what is in the hearts of men? Mr. Musk has not yet commented on what he was doing here. But the Roman salute is a thing. And that is what it looks like Elon Musk was doing, which added a nice blood-curdling chill to the day for many people today. Go ahead and roll that tape.
And I just want to say thank you for making it happen. Thank you. My heart goes out to you.
He does it twice. And again, maybe that's not what he meant. Maybe he doesn't know what that is. That happened today. Earlier in the day, we started seeing messages fly from January 6th defendants and their families claiming, even before any official pardons had been signed, that they were getting word that their charges were being dropped or they're being processed for release from prison. This was one of the earliest messages we saw today online. This man claiming the Justice Department was dropping his pending criminal case. This is a man who had been charged with beating police officers with a baseball bat. That's him with the black bat there on the left side of your screen. That's at the Capitol building, obviously, on January 6th. There had been word, including from Vice President J.D. Vance, that nobody charged with violence against police officers would be pardoned by Trump. But this man today posted online that he'd heard that his case was being dropped. Tonight, within the past hour, we got word that there appears to not have been a distinction made between those convicted of just participating in the January 6th attack and those who participated violently in the attack, including those who attacked police officers physically. The list of people whose sentences were commuted by Trump today, commuted to time served so they can be released from prison, includes some of the people convicted of violence against police officers. It includes paramilitary leaders who were sentenced for seditious conspiracy for attempting to overthrow the U.S. government by force. You may have seen today that the Proud Boys put on their full colors and marched today in Washington in advance of tonight's announcement, saying, "Free our boys." Well, now their leaders and their members convicted of trying to overthrow the government and of violence against police officers, they are all being sprung out of prison. 1,500 people altogether either receiving pardons or commutations from Trump tonight. Of all the possibilities considered about what Trump would do with the people who committed violence on his behalf on January 6th, this was the maximalist option, pardoning and commuting all of their sentences so that all of them are released. This was the maximalist option. And, like the blatant transactional open for business corruption, founding his own currency that you can buy to put money in his pocket the weekend before he becomes president. Aside from all of that just blatant open for business corruption, what we're seeing here with the January 6th pardons, this kind of thing does have the benefit of novelty, right? We've never quite seen something like this before. But like with the corruption, the boring thing about it is that we know exactly what this leads to. Authoritarian rulers all over the world have always liked to have paramilitary, loyal but unofficial perpetrators of violence and menace to work on their behalf, to intimidate and hurt anyone in opposition, to make it too scary for normal people to participate in politics or civic life, to make everybody who might oppose Trump in any way worry about the thugs that might turn up at their door. Trump pardoning and releasing from prison the January 6 defendants, including the paramilitaries, means he is effectively immunizing his followers from committing violence in his name. He's making clear, if you support me, the law doesn't apply to you. Not incidentally, the people he's pardoning and their families will feel like they owe Trump everything, and that they therefore should and now can do absolutely anything for him. In authoritarian Hungary, Viktor Orban's government pardoned a far-right agitator who had set fire to the homes of Orban's political rivals. In Turkey, Erdogan had pardoned the leader of a far-right nationalist paramilitary group that mobilized on his behalf and engaged in street violence. In Zimbabwe, Robert Mugabe pardoned hundreds of people who carried out election-related violence on his behalf. Pinochet in Chile and Fujimori in Peru gave blanket amnesties to their security forces. If you're on my side, the law doesn't apply to you. Don't even ask me about the essay in Germany. Don't get me started. But this is day one, unfolding pretty much the way we expected it to. And yes, this is novel in American history, but it is also knowable in world history.
This is exactly what Elon, what Donald Trump, what Steve Bannon, what all of MAGA wants to do. They want to flood the zone. They want us to be distracted by all the dangerous and terrible things that they did. And once they do them, once they say them, once they sign them, once they pass them, once they vote on them, whatever it is, they want to tell us that we didn't actually see what we thought we saw. First flood the zone, then lie to us and say, no. That's not what happened. Elon didn't throw up that salute. Trump didn't pass this bill. That's not what he meant. It's what they always do. It's how they distract. And it's the reason why Donald Trump's inauguration wasn't just terrible for what happened, but for who was in attendance. Of course, we talked about all the billionaires, but it's important to specify what type of billionaires. Information. Donald Trump now has TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, of course, Twitter, Google, and his hip pocket. CEOs all at his disposal to muddy the waters, confuse the information, make sure that people who are tuning out of politics never see the dangerous stuff that Donald Trump is doing, and the people who are tuning into politics, but they don't see information to help them fight back. That is what this is all about. That is Donald Trump's plan moving forward. Control the narrative, and now control the information that makes it happen. And that is really scary, and it makes it more difficult for us to fight back. And that's something that I discussed in two recent interviews, one with Senator Chris Murphy, the other with Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett, that I think are important in light of this conversation, and I want us to check out right here. And it was certainly clear who was prioritized today, Elon and his billionaire buddies with the front row seats. And with that symbolism in mind, how will you continue to do the excellent job you've done centering Elon Musk's corruption in an ever important conversation about battling back against corporate interest and the dark money that is so entrenched in our politics?
Yeah, I mean, Elon got his desk, I think, before anybody else got their desk or their office in the White House. And so I think that it is important, especially for us that are Democrats, to not only make sure that we are constantly making it clear to the American people that our policy is always centered around them, but also make sure that we aren't just turning a blind eye to the bad actors and explaining why this is not a norm and explaining why this is tearing apart our democracy. I think that we have to do both things. So yeah, we're going to have to walk and chew gum, but as someone who serves on the Oversight Committee, we're now the newly created DOJ subcommittee, or as we like to call it, Doggy committee resides, I potentially will have an opportunity to oversee just some of the nonsense. And what we're going to see more of is what we saw today, which is an administration that will prioritize anyone that has billions or millions in the bank over the everyday people that went out there and decided that they would do everything that they could to put him into office. The reality is that this swearing in was literally only for the elites. And so if you want to know which party is about elitism, it's this one. They wouldn't even allow for the jumbotrons to be on the mall so that people could go and at least be close to his cloth, so to speak, right? So I think that there's going to be more disappointments for those everyday working folk that really thought that this was a guy that was going to look out for them. But as I've stated over and over, he was born with a silver spoon in his mouth. And so if you weren't, then I don't think that he understands your struggles.
But it shouldn't also be lost on America exactly what companies are represented on that stage. Those are America's information companies. Those are America's news companies, America's social media companies. This is a very purposeful play by Donald Trump to take control of America's news network, of America's information system, because all those guys want to be richer. All of them have massive interests in front of the Trump administration. Apple doesn't want the iPhones to be subject to tariffs. There's an FTC case right now pending against Meta. Obviously, Musk and Bezos have billions of dollars in contracts from the federal government that they want. And so if Trump says to them, as he said to Zuckerberg, hey, listen, just take it easy on me, right? Sort of suppress people that are criticizing me, boost content that's favorable to me, and I'll take care of you. I'll make sure that you get even richer. That's an attractive offer that I don't think these guys are refusing. And so that's the story, is the billionaires taking over government, them getting favors from Trump, and the rest of us getting screwed.
We have to be incredibly strategic in fighting back against the information war that is going to be the next 4 years, oof, that hurts to say, of Donald Trump. And how we make sure that we direct our message, that we correct the narrative, and we don't let Donald Trump get away with flooding the zone or telling us that our eyes are lying to us when that is in fact not the case. We have to bring these things front and center, and we have to point out how obvious it is, how dangerous they are. And we're going to keep talking about that, of course, on this show every single day. And if you want to support that, as always, you can hit that subscribe button. You can leave a like on this video. And if you stuck around to the end, you can drop a blue heart in the comments. And if you want to check out those interviews, more from those clips, of course, you can go to the homepage of my channel and take a look. And until next time, I'll see you soon.